Hello, everyone. I am Uncle Rob, and Uncle Rhino is with us as usual. How you doing, partner?
Doing good, my man, and excited about today.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're so giddy. I'm gonna let you introduce our guest today. I always do it. I'm gonna let you do it today.
Oh man! So this one's been playing hard to get, folks, but we finally got him. He's the terrible judge of character. He's friends with Tom Wurth, so don't hold that against him. God bless him, and a big shout out to Tom. We miss you, buddy. We wish you were here with us. And rounding out an OG of the tribe people, Mr. John Ford Coley. Welcome to the tribe, Big Daddy.
Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
How you like all that fanfare he gave you? Isn't that cool?
Well, I was kind of hoping he'd go on for about another 5 more minutes. I mean, I don't want to sound, selfish, but come on.
I don't pull out the finger drums for just everybody.
That's true.
He's not lying, man. I have never seen the finger drums yet, so he pulled them out just for you, man. Tell us a little bit about you, John Ford Coley. Me and Rhino know who you are, but some of our listeners may not know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself, my man.
Well, I'm 5'10".
Nice.
I'm brilliant and brutal.
Hang on, this is not a Tinder site. This is not a dating app.
Come on. Walks on the beach. Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Rhino?
Yeah.
We're gonna start our dating app right now, man.
And yeah.
When
no, actually, as far as the musical career was concerned, I started when I was about 16. Got into a band. I'd been playing classical music most of my life, so that was what I was trained in. That was what I really excelled in. And then this band that was very popular in school, I'd seen them, but I had no dealings with them. They had a guitar player that quit because his girlfriend was getting a little bit jealous of all the attention that he was getting from the girls. So typical band scenario. And so everybody in the band wanted a keyboard player except for Dan. He wanted another guitar player. Well, they found me in ROTC of all places. And so they asked me if I'd come in and audition. I did come in. I had no idea what rock and roll was. Really, I'd never played it before. Again, I was big chords and played by myself. So I ended up getting the gig. Dan and I did not get along because he didn't want me in the band. Again, he wanted a guitar player. So we just kind of avoided one another pretty much, but we would drive to various gigs together. So Dan would kind of start singing just to kind of warm up on songs. Dan always took the lead. I always took the harmony. We'd sing Everly Brothers and Righteous Brothers and Peter and Gordon and Asher. Peter and Gordon and Chad and Jeremy, Simon and Garfunkel, people like that. And we kind of developed a sound. And then we became kind of like brothers, more or less. We were pretty much inseparable because, again, we were doing so many things together. And that's pretty much how it took off. We were playing in the band. Like I said, I'm certain I was Sonny and Cher and the Beach Boys and all these kinds of bands that are very popular at the time. Who graduated from one band name to another. So we were the Playboys 5. Then we became These Few. Now, when we became These Few was when I became an original member in the band. I've always been of the opinion, you add a new guy to the band, you need to rename the group, period, because it's not the same band that you had before. And so we ended up with that. So I'm an original member. Then we changed it to Southwest FOB. I'm an original member. And Dan and I finally said, enough's enough. Kind of, we're playing fusion jazz right now. Dan played sax. I played piano, guitar, not guitar in the band, but sang in the band. And that's pretty much how we took off. Said, let's give this a shot. I'm tired of my ears getting wrecked.
It worked.
It's a good thing bands don't change. Somebody gets added or taken away. Who knows what Skinner would be called today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you should see half the bands out there. We make a big deal on this yacht rock thing going out. We are the only group of people, because I played with Ambrosia. So there's two originals. One original just passed away about 3 months ago. So they had three of their four. I'm one of two. I played with Peter Beckett from Player, who did Baby Come Back. So he's one of, I don't know how many was in there. Elliot Lurie from Looking Glass, who sang Brandy. He's an original. He wrote the song, played the song. Walter Egan, we did Magnet.
Yeah.
So we've got all these people that are original. Besides that, we used to play with Gary Wright a lot, but he passed away. And then Al Stewart, we played with him a lot. He's an original. And then he said, guys, I'm done. I'm 80 years old, man. Give me a break. I just want to sit down and have a glass of wine. So that was that.
We had Walter on a while back, and I tell you, Walter's a great guy. Cannot
Yes.
wait to get him back on here. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to reach out to Elliot from Looking Glass and see if we can get him on here. I've always liked Looking Glass.
He's the sweetest guy in the world. He comes out very unassuming. That's the wonderful thing about everybody right now. Everyone is completely unassuming. You would never think that they had done anything in their lives. They just don't sit there and go, hey, I'm from, and just kind of play.
John, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. Personally, I was blessed to spend some time with Waylon and Cash and Harlan a lot, and the one thing that I took away from those guys was when I was first trying to break out in Texas, 19 years old, 17 years old. I was just so grateful for every opportunity I
Absolutely.
got to hold a guitar. And then somewhere in the business, you get surrounded by peacocks that are trying to hold a perception, people that are expecting to be perceived a certain way. And then if you survive long enough, you learn how silly that was. And you end up right back with the same mindset that you had. And that's the guys with the biggest careers have been the kindest and the sweetest that I've ever met and worked with through the years. Those guys were like the Cash and like Harlan and those guys. They were just grateful to have the honor.
I had a friend of mine call me about 2 years ago, and she said, John, Billy Bob Thornton's coming into town. I want to see him. And I said, well, heck, so do I. And so she gave me the date, and I was playing the night before in Sedona, Arizona. So I hopped on a plane instead of coming back to Nashville, just jumped into Dallas. She picked me up. I went to go meet Billy, and he had a situation to where he would sit down in the middle of the set and he would just have, field questions. So I asked him, how does it feel to end up having this kind of longevity? And he said, man, I'm glad. And he was really genuinely thankful that the question got asked. He said, I started out when I was in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I ended up getting a paper route. He says, times were hard back there. Got a paper route. He said, best job I ever had in my life. They gave me a shot at that, allowed me to do that. And he says, and then I finally moved up. I went to a grocery store clerk. He said, that was the best job I ever got to do. And he just kept going on and on. That was the best job. And he was so grateful for everything. And I just remember sitting there while he was saying all this stuff, thinking to myself, I really like this guy. He is grateful. He's appreciative. He understands going from point A to point B and what it meant to him. So when you're talking about those kind of people, yes, sir, I do understand that kind of behavior.
The more that we can connect with the people on the boots on the ground, the people who are fighting the day-to-day existence, the better we are, and we become their voice. And I think that was one of the big secrets for Harlan that I watched with Harlan. It was a joke. Harlan was, he was a millionaire 7 times. He got divorced 6 times. He was, he was broke 6 times.
He was always starting from the bottom.
Yeah. And the stuff, and some of it was wrong because I was young and I didn't pay attention to some of the nuances I wished I had, but you'll get this. I mean, one time he left. He was a commercial fisherman like up north in the Great Lakes. One time he was slinging hash somewhere. One time he left and he was a painter for apartment complexes or something. And I remember thinking, oh my God, you were Harlan Howard. That's the most crazy thing I've ever seen, because I had that public perception and I didn't understand. He wasn't depleted, he was reloading. And each time he connected with the people, to me, that's one of the things that would make a Billy Bob Thornton so powerful and so effective, was the gratitude and all the nuances of all those jobs and every place that he went. He carries that with him. So he's every man, and everybody sees themselves in him and the characters that he plays, because we're just like a muddy river. We carry every place that we've ever been inside of us. And so that's when I listen to your music. Never told you, but I mean, your hits were the soundtrack to my memories growing up, man. And there wouldn't have been a me if there wasn't a you.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story. I think it's interesting anyway. I collect stories, written books, and it's like I tell everyone, I hear the book that I've written is funny. I haven't read it myself, but I hear it's funny. So you just start collecting those things. And I was playing on a cruise a couple of years ago. Heard of Peter Asher all my career. You know, the man's a marvel. He's done all kinds of things. Well, when I'm playing with Ambrosia, this guy come in and says, Peter wants you to come play with him. So I went, okay, great. So I went over. He had a different show. I get up and I just played the leader of the band by Fogelberg. I just grabbed a guitar and did it. So then when I got off, they said, would you sing on World Without Love when everybody comes up? And I went, heck yeah, man. I said, but first of all, how does it go? Just remind me quickly. So he's saying, well, it's knocking me away. I'll go. I know it. So I get it, because I had played with Gordon in the Philippines, his old partner. Well, we get up, and I'm standing next to Susan Calsil. And Susan and I go way back. So I'm singing this song, never missing a beat. All of a sudden, in my mind, I drifted off, and Dan and I are driving in the car to a gig, and we're singing that song. And I remember it vividly. And I just kind of stared off, and Susan nudged me and she said, are you okay? I said, I am. So the next day I wanted to tell Peter, but I wasn't able to because he was pretty surrounded. All of my career, people come up to me and they go, your song meant so much to me. It did this. I remember that. It was a soundtrack. And you just go on with that kind of flavor. I'm sitting there thinking, so that's what this feels like. I've never had that experience before. Now, most time when I tell that story, I get kind of weepy because, again, I had never had anything touch me like that. So, yeah, I completely understand what you're relating to there. You know,
You're the guy.
Does touch you. You do stuff, and you have a different understanding and admiration for the people that do it. Because I bet half of those guys out there have never had that kind of an experience to where they sit down, reflect, and go, damn. I mean, damn. That's the kind of an effect that it has on people. And I'm missing that because I'm so close to it. I mean, that's powerful.
It is for me, and that's what it was so important. Today was so important where I could look at you and you could see me say it to you. And I meant that there would have never been Ryan Reynolds in the 90s. There would have never been Abel Kane in the early 2000s and all the stuff that we did, the impact. And there would never be an Unk right now if it hadn't been for a John Ford Coley, people. So well, if you don't know, if to the people watching, if you don't know this man, if you somehow were sequestered in Afghanistan somewhere, go and look this man up because he's a Titan. And we are so grateful to have you, brother. And thank you for everything you did with your gift of music.
Thank you.
Man, I tell you what, I'm getting weepy. You said you didn't weep, but I'm getting emotional here. I mean, that's a pretty intense story, man.
Well, I've
When
got intense stories. You want to hear the one that kept me really motivated?
Yes.
let's roll with it, man.
I was about 19, and I was playing in the band Southwest FOB. I'm going to school. I do not have a keyboard up there, so I'm not practicing the way that I should, and I'm certainly not playing and writing and doing the things musically that I should be doing. So I come in to rehearse on a Thursday night because we rehearse Thursday, play Friday, Saturday, and go back to school. So I come home to rehearse. They inform me that me and the bass player are about to get fired because, again, we're not doing the things that we need to be doing to keep this group alive and progressing. So I had a week to straighten things out. Well, I was pretty upset. I mean, I didn't like working at the grocery stores, and I didn't like doing the other things, working for my uncle, slinging, hammers and stuff. So I was like, no, I like playing. I want to do this. And besides that, the chicks were pretty good. But then they were at construction. But the thing that was weird when I'm driving to school, and this was the very first time, so it scared my socks off. As I'm driving along, I heard a voice, and the voice spoke to me. And it said verbatim, I gave you the gift. What you do with the gift is up to you. But if you do not use the gift, I will take it from you and I will give it to someone who will. That was verbatim.
Yes, sir.
Scared me to death, but it also kicked me into gear. It's like I play all the time. I don't play on the stage. I play all the time. I called a friend of mine one time. We were playing a gig together, and he said, "John, I pulled my guitar out of the case, put new strings on it, and I'm practicing your stuff. I'm ready to go." And I said, "You pulled your guitar out of the case?" And he said, "Yeah, I pulled my guitar out of the case and I put new strings on it." He says, "I've been practicing your stuff." He said, "Let's go. Let's do it." And I said, "You pulled your guitar out of the case?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll pull my guitar out of the case." And I said, "What the hell's it doing in the case? You're supposed to play this. That's the first thing comes out of that case. When I come home is my guitar and goes on the stand. I pass by, I pick it up, I grab it and I play." So what is this thing being in the case? It's like, there was another time I came out. It was like a Bible study, and I'm not I'm spiritual, but I say things sometimes. I'm pretty loose, and I went out of the house and I passed by in the living room, and the girl that actually did worship at the church had a cover on her piano. And so I looked at that and I stepped back into the room and I said, "Everybody, again, good night. Thanks so much. It was fun. Sherry, take the damn cover off your piano." And that was it. And I walked out. And she was like, "Huh?" It's like, again, you're not going to play the thing if it's covered up. If it's hidden out of your sight and not visual to you, you're just going to, before you know it, you're going in your hotel room and not unpacking the guitar until you get on stage. It's like, no, these things are meant to be played.
Yeah.
Well, you can see Rhino's got all his out of the case back there. So
I don't have all of them. I got a bunch of them I got some in storage, and Tom's got one at Frett Barbers right now. Did you play that one yet, John?
No, I think I might have played it, but I mean, Tom's doing such a miraculous job. He's taking all my guitars. If I buy one, I don't even take it out of the case when I get it. I just send it to Tom and say, "Here, fix it." It's like,
yes, sir.
They've all got something wrong with them, but he comes along and just makes it sing.
He's got Grace right now, and she's a legendary axe, and I wanted his hands on it. He doesn't see that as metal and wood. He sees that as a spiritual key. And
he's doing heart surgery on those guitars, I guarantee you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If anybody doesn't know, look up Frett Barbers, frettbarbers.com. You wanna do it's like West Coast choppers. That man will take whatever you get off the rack and it'll be tailor made for you. Check him out. Tom Wurth at Frett Barbers.
He gave me a guitar one time and said, "Play this." And I looked at it and I said, "What kind of guitar is this?" And he goes, "I got it for $65." 65, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to sound really delightful. I hit one chord on that thing and it went, holy cow. This sounds like a $3,000 guitar. It was amazing what he was capable of doing with it.
He's going to pimp your six string, man. That's what he does. He pimps those six strings.
And he's good at it. So